What up, guys? We're gonna have some fun with Dectron. So I was out late. I had ice and everything on the condenser the other night. I couldn't really access anything, but we had a high compressor discharge temperature alarm. Previously had a guy out about a week before, high discharge temperature. He was out about a week before, same alarm, cycled it, couldn't find any issues, it ran just fine. So I was out here till about 10 o'clock. It actually pumped down on the first cycle. Not sure why. I was in there trying to feel, there's a dehum valve, three-way hot gas, either feeds a reheat coil or the condenser. So I'm not sure how it was pumping down. And then in the middle of all that, I actually found the heat kit up here, electric heater, burnt wires, none of the heater was working. We had blown fuses. Luckily this is the old one. I had some spare fuses and such in there to be able to pull out, but I replaced all the contactors and a bunch of wiring in there. And then by the time I got done with that, this guy was cycling normally. I had a flashy sight glass when it was pumping down, obviously. So we're gonna have to dig into that and see what the hell, see if there's a solenoid on the liquid line. I didn't see one. Again, it was late and it was gonna be cold that night, so I fixed the heat and said, hey, we're gonna have to come back. There's a problem here. I did test the other day, or the other night, what is the word that I'm looking for? Discharge temperature sensor. I believe the discharge temperature sensor is fine. I didn't have any major issues. I had my temp probes in here and was clamping lines to see where my hot gas was going. And it seemed like it was actually cooling when it should have been dehumming. So I think there might be something wrong with that three-way valve, but I'm not 100% sure. So we're gonna dig in and find out. That was a long intro. I don't like these things either. You can see we got all our chemicals stored in here. And we got the heater and the pump too, but all these chemicals eat up the electric heat kit. These units, this is not an old unit, maybe 2017 maybe, but they live a rough life in these conditions. So let's get in here and see what we got. So here's our piping. You can see my three-way valve back right there. I got some clicky noises out of that after it seemed like it was working, but discharge, this is my discharge sensor. And I didn't find a piping diagram, but my discharge feeds either that three-way valve or the hot gas. Actually, that's liquid. That's hot gas on top. I checked all my manual valves. They're open. And I didn't see an actual solenoid valve. We do have another valve up here. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I kind of looked for a piping diagram quickly, but didn't find one. So everything looked fairly normal. I was curious if there wasn't a solenoid valve in that outside unit that might not be operating as it was supposed to. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to go out there and look for a solenoid, and then kind of go from there. So here's our outdoor. Everything looks normal. I don't like how this is run because it's just hanging across everything. But all this looks okay. They're controlling the speed of the motors. I saw these motors kick in the other day when it was running. I got wire nuts down there on that wire, which I don't like, but there's no solenoid valve, so I don't foresee there being a major issue out here. I never tripped high pressure, or it never even locked out on low pressure. By the time it caught up, it was at least acting right. So here's our control panel. This is the control for the three-way valve. That's kind of where I thought I might have an issue. I didn't dig into it too far. I had some flashy LEDs here. I'll have to look back and remember exactly what happened. But I think open was flashing like 10 times. And then once I satisfied it, when the closed light came on, and everything kind of acted normal. Got to look to see what those mean. I'm not sure, but I'm curious if I don't have a problem between there and the three-way valve. So that's what I'm going to dig into now. I've got the manual over there. I'm going to read a little bit and try to figure out if we can see what's going on here. I've got, before I reset anything, I wasn't sure about the temperatures either. I don't know what they're keeping the pool water, but the settings were 75, 55, which I'm not sure if those should be adjusted, but I'm not going to play with their set points right now. I'm just going to try to get it to work. The other thing I found, I don't know if they're going to do anything about it. The airflow switch on the heater is stuck closed, which I found as I was leaving at 10 o'clock. I noticed the contactor chatter inside there, and there's an issue with that airflow switch. So nonetheless, I just don't want to turn the blower off with power to my electric heat because in theory they're still going to keep running if that switch is still not working right. I smacked it with a wrench, but that's only going to work for so long. Let's figure out what's going on with this. So all this looks pretty good. I don't know if that's aluminum or if it's painted. I think it's just painted, probably to help with corrosion. I was reading, so it just goes over some of the typical things, but I saw a pump down. Liquid line solenoid pump down. I do have a liquid line solenoid. That is actually not. That feeds back into the suction line. So I'm not sure I'd call that a liquid line solenoid. It said possible TXV not adjusted. That's not the case. We've most likely got a control issue here. Could have a valve issue, but apparently this will pump down. That's the reheat. I don't know how this pumps down unless it does it via the valve. The belt's a little wobbly, but it seems okay. I mean, drain pan for the most part, pretty clean. Everything looks good in there. Like they had problems back there. Somebody taped those wires up. I'm not sure what it. So this is the blower on off switch, the emergency compressor on off. I'm not sure what that is. So we're gonna keep reading. I'm just digging through everything. I'll make sure I get my eyeballs on everything and don't miss anything. All right, so got my probes on. I'm actually monitoring hot gas. Got the side panel off, so it's a little easier to see. But basically, those two lines, either my hot gas feeds this way for my reheat coil, or it feeds that way for my condenser coil. I've got probes on my hot gas line, so I can tell which way my refrigerant's feeding and make sure all that's working right. I still haven't found that's got that solenoid valve, but that just feeds a small line back into the suction. And I think that's a hot gas. So I still haven't figured out how it actually pumps down, because I don't see anything that looks like it would be capable of pumping down. So I'm not sure about that yet, but I'm still got to do some more research. We're just going to trying to just get everything prepared. 407C, everything looks good there, so we will reset it and see what the hell happens. It might work. So so maybe shouldn't really do anything when I kick it on now. Let's get rid of my alarm. Alright, let's get rid of my alarm. There we go. Oh, now I need a password. Damn it, man. Let's find the password and get it reset. There we go, no active alarms. Now we're gonna have to wait for it to cycle. I can change. We've also got sensor readings here, so we can see discharge temp and all that, and I verified discharge temp and pressures were accurate the last time. Let's go to set points. So we're maintaining 75 degrees. Let's see if it won't call for dehum. Let's try to run the humidity down. There it goes. Pumping down. So I'm sending hot gas to my suction line. It's gonna kick off on low pressure. Maybe I thought it would have went by now. Anyways, my hot gas is going this way, so it's going to my condenser. And I should be dehumming, so I should be going to my hot gas. That still says close. The close LED is lit. And I don't know why hasn't it kicked the damn low pressure yet. There it goes. Something causing it to pump down. And that was my hot gas here. I don't see a liquid line solenoid. What I think's happening is this thing cycling like that a couple times in a row, because it doesn't actually, it won't give you a lockout, so it's not locked out yet. Alright, so we still should be trying to dehub. But I don't see what would be stopping me. If my hot gas is going out to my condenser, it's just a condenser, and then it should be coming back on the liquid line. And if it's going that way, that valve's open. I'm assuming that's a check valve. And then it can feed. This valve's going to control something, but then it goes the other way. Feeds liquid up to my metering device. I think that's my liquid line. So that's hot gas discharge. This is going to be liquid. Are we using that as a receiver? And there's no valves. It's not warm. Oh, that is warm going in here. Excellent. Got a hot pipe there. And that's this pipe here. Which is here. So I got discharge running through there. Okay. It's like this is, it's got a pressure differential that it opens. I think there's something wrong with that valve. This is opening up on pressure differential because I don't think that valve's moving. And then I'm just dumping hot gas through. So I've got some things to work out here. We might have to give Dectron a call. Cause I don't work on these all the time. I'm not exactly sure what's happening. I don't know why. It's like 0 to 5 volts. And that's going to feed power to the three-way valve. Like I said, this is kind of where I was the other night. And then when I got to this point, I actually went to grab a jug of refrigerant, had it in here ready to go. Then I realized as this thing was running, I was cooling the space and it wasn't warming up for some reason. Did my heater stuff. It was like 9 o'clock. I come back and I'm like, the compressor was running at that point, and I could hear that three-way valve ticking like it was moving. So I got a little more diagnosis to do, but I know at least part way what's going on. I wish they had a piping diagram. Need to look through a little more, and we'll let this thing, I mean, it's not locked out right now. I'm doing okay on space temp, so it should be calling for dehum. We'll see if it comes back on. I'm gonna do a little research while I'm waiting. We should see this discharge temp come up if my valve's actually feeding. So I got everything I got out. There's no piping diagram. I do have decent wire diagrams. Same thing, we just pump down again, shut off. So I'm gonna work my way through figuring out what this is supposed to be doing. It doesn't give you a whole lot of information. They want, these guys, I dealt with another unit the other day that they give you minimal information because they don't want you messing with shit. And they don't want anybody messing with shit, and they want you to call them before you're doing anything. So basically everything with high discharge temperature says check the switch, call Dectron. It doesn't really give me any more like sequence. I haven't read the entire manual. It gives you a little bit of sequence of operation, but again, they don't go in real high depth. So I'm working my way through some of that. They don't give me alarm codes for that board either. That's controlling my high gas valve, and I think I got a problem there. But they don't give me any diagnostics. I had a flashy light the last time. I think open was flashing 10 times. So I haven't seen any diagnostics on that, and it's like staying in the closed position. I haven't messed with any dip switches, obviously. Don't go flipping switches, you don't know what they do, but we might be able to do something to manipulate that valve. Alright, so we do have sensor test procedures and what the ohm reading should be. All that's, I checked all that. We don't have a sensor problem. We got a control problem. So there's no procedure to test any of the controls as far as differential or high gas valve. So I'm probably going to have to reach out to Dectron, since they don't give me the information to diagnose, troubleshoot, adjust, do anything with this. I'm going to have to reach out to them and see what they say. There's no, I mean, it kind of tells you what some of that is, but I mean, if somebody was in here flipping switches, we could have a problem, just a simple fix. Because you never know with these places. They change their own filters and they don't mess with these things until they don't work. Until they got a problem, they ain't calling you. So, and it's usually maintenance stuff. You know, you got a loose belt and dirty filters. You got to start there most of the time. All that stuff's been taken care of, but we're gonna have to dig a little further and figure that out. I'm still sending my hot gas same way out to my condenser. 122 and 95. We are reading correctly. I'm just gathering as much information as I can before I go calling anybody, so I got all the information. These are my settings on that board. So that's the steps of that valve. It's bipolar. It's sure acting bipolar now. We got standard direction. I'm guessing that's what it is. Quick response. 200 PPS. I'm guessing that's pulse per second. I don't know. And then standard operation. Number 8, the on is actually close the valve. And it's not on because I thought maybe somebody had hit that, because I mean I still say valve closed and it sure seems like it's closed, because it should be feeding my dehum or my reheat coil, and it's not. I mean, I don't know if maybe somebody hit that switch and never, maybe they set it back and never killed the power. I don't know, because you're probably gonna have to, anytime you switch something there, you're probably gonna have to kill the power to get it to recognize it, I would think. So that's something I was investigating. We got a little more information here and we'll go from there. And we are able to see, yeah, so my temperature's maintaining that 75. It's pretty cold out. I'm maintaining that 75 with my electric heat strips. It should just be trying to dehum right now. And I keep getting alarms. It actually hit a low pressure fault. So I'm not gonna mess with it anymore until I get more information and I can test that damn valve. So you can see we're in the pool area. We got some condensation that's been going on. That looks like the outside, actually. You can see all the corrosion on everything metal, but not too bad. All that condensation. We're gonna have to adjust some settings. They get in here and start playing with stuff. Stuff gets kind of screwed up. Doesn't look like anybody's been in here in a while. We got a hot tub, pool. The worst thing is when they try to put the thermostats inside here. They'll put them on the wall. Thermostats are just not, they don't handle the environment well. So that's our return, and you can see we're throwing our air on the windows and the exterior. That's where all the load comes from, obviously, and that's where the condensation's the worst, or that's where the condensation's gonna be. So throw the air on there. So all that looks normal. All this is open. I was just walking through checking registers, making sure nothing got closed off, and we'll kind of move forward from there. So this is gonna be interesting. This is a 2017 model. Dectron was bought by Poolpak and Seresto, I believe, in 2017. So this is the last of this line. They're actually using the Seresto design, not the Dectron. So there's apparently one guy, and one guy only, that I have to get a hold of, and he will be able to give me some tech support on this Dectron, because they don't use it anymore, and none of the other guys apparently know how to work it. The guy calls me back, but if not, I'm gonna have to have an answer. So I gave it a power reset. Okay, so it looks like maybe it's counting down. And then it went back to closed. I was hoping maybe a power reset would help me there. The lower's back on, so I can turn the electric heat back on now. Be careful shutting this thing down. I don't want to blow any more fuses over there. I still can't explain why that's closed. It's going to do the same thing. I mean, it's pumping down. My hot gas is going outside. Coming back liquid here. So what I'm gonna do, this is my liquid line coming back. I'm gonna get a port here. It feeds up, check valve, comes back here, and feeds down over into receiver, whatever the hell you're calling that. So I'm gonna get I want a valve on, a gauge on the outlet of that. Because I think that's what's happening, is I'm not able to feed. I think the discharge is open in this. I just want to see what pressures I've got on these lines, so I can see what the hell's happening with my refrigerant a little better than I can now. This is liquid coming back, and that liquid coming back is feeding here. And then that's outlet of there. I'm not 100% sure what. It's not marked or anything. I'm assuming it's a receiver. I'm feeding liquid to it, so that's what I would think. But I don't work on these all the time. They're not that too terribly complicated. When the controls work right, they do a pretty good job. Still can't explain that, why it's still closed, because it should be trying to open unless it's set backwards. You know, maybe the bipolar, one of those fucking dip switches got flipped. It's going to be screwed. So I was setting up to leak check this thing. Tech support actually called back. 1 to 3 minutes after this energizes, it sends hot gas to the condenser and then back in. So that is normal. It's just not running for that 1 to 3 minutes, and then it would allow, they call it oil return or something, so they're trying to push any oil in the system back, and then it would go to reheat mode. Which makes sense, because that's what it did the last time I'd actually bypassed the low pressure switch to do some diagnostics, because it wasn't running long enough. And that's kind of what I ended up with. And it started to act right after we had it running for a little while. But it looks like we're low on charge. I've scanned everything in here, all of my king valves. My sight glass did go clear when it actually cycled. Here's the problem. I had all this out the other night. I was ready to do this, but everything was covered in ice out here. This fucking condenser coil's leaking. I noticed the spot, and I actually looked up under here when I got here, and I couldn't tell if that was wet from the dew in the morning and maybe a little rain, or if that was oil. But that there is clearly oil, and there's no way I'm gonna be able to get to that. There's no real access down here in this corner. The guy did say I was gonna be able to get parts for it. I'm gonna go ahead and scan over. Son of a bitch. This thing's leaking everywhere. I need to get the other side off and see if it's leaking. So, looks like they're splitting it up. This is the liquid side. So hot gas feeds in over to there, comes back into this coil, and then comes out there on my liquid. I do have caps off, so that might have been hitting there. I think we got leaks everywhere. Well, so I'm kind of shit out of luck. I gotta make some calls, and we're gonna have to see what we can do for this thing. We've got, I've got some 407C. I can dump some charge into it. We're gonna be hit or miss. This thing, talking to the guy, they want recovery and way back in, obviously. That's what everybody wants, but there's 10 different ports on this machine, and they want you to recover from each one. Well, I'm not set up to be able to recover from 10 different ports, so it kind of is what it is there. I'm probably going to add some refrigerant and get it going, and then we'll have to be prepared to do that when we come to change the condenser out, is what it looks like, because I'm getting multiple hits, and you ain't going to fix all those leaks in the micro channel. We did set our temperature up to 82 degrees, and we want 50 to 55% humidity. Those actually, what I didn't know, and I didn't look close enough, those numbers are right here. So it is 2 degrees above your pool water temperature. So if you're maintaining pool water of 80 degrees, you want your air temperature at 82. And with that in my electric heater for right now, even without the dehum, I think I'm gonna be okay as far as keeping the space where it needs to be, as far as keeping the windows from condensating and all that good stuff. So I'm probably in the end gonna add some charge to this thing today, and then come up with a plan and see where we go from here. So let me continue to leak check. I'll bring y'all back when I get ready to charge. Once we get it able to run for that 1 to 3 minutes and get its oil back, that thing's gonna go to open. I can guarantee that's what happened last time, and that's why I saw it halfway operate. It was cold out that night, so the head pressure control was kind of helping, and my sight glass was clear. That's what I told the guy, but he said he thought maybe it was just slightly low. I mean, he was expecting this standing pressure to be higher, obviously, because my room was running at 75, which I understand. I would kind of expect that too, but I also don't know. I've got oil out there that's on the liquid side of my condenser, if that makes sense, because there's 2 coils out there. I would think on the high pressure side this thing wouldn't have any refrigerant left in it, but it also hasn't run very long, so it's just sitting here now. Once you get it running, it's not going to take long to empty the damn refrigerant out of there. So I'll bring y'all back. We'll see if we can't get this thing running. I'm going to have it running today, at least help to control the humidity. We got the heat running. We're probably just going to give them one quote for everything, because they need a new airflow switch. They got 2 new contactors. The heater kit, I mean, kind of is what it is. But we're going to go from there. I learned a little bit more. This thing does not pump down. It's just truly not getting that refrigerant back like it should. and not able to run long enough. It's probably way lower than it looks. The actual charge, where did I see it? Somebody wrote it. Maybe it was in the book. I think it holds 50 pounds or so. Yeah, factory charge is 30. And I don't remember, oh yeah, there it is. So it is marked 57 pounds. So 27 pounds over the factory 30 pound charge. So I got no hits on this side. And this is the hot gas side. So technically it's going to be a little bit lower pressure on the other side. So we get the hot gas feeds in here, comes out of this coil, and liquid feeds over. Liquid feeds over into this coil and then comes out and goes into my evaporator. So this is the only coil that's leaking. We're gonna have to try to pinpoint it, but we're kind of screwed. I'm gonna start making phone calls because we're gonna have to have a new coil. I've got hits down here, hits down here. I'm not gonna be able to get to all of those and try to fix multiple leaks. If they've developed 2 leaks, it doesn't look like it's been hit or anything. If it's developed, you know, 2 hits that I'm getting here, I've probably got more. So it's gonna be kind of a waste of time for everybody to try to get in here and fix these things. Probably gonna have to tear that coil out of there or get a new condenser. I'm not sure exactly what our options are, but that's what we're gonna find out. And we're gonna have some work to do. We'll make sure we go over everything. We don't want to go changing a condenser coil and then have an evaporator leak or another leak somewhere. I mean, we got a rusting filter dryer already. That'll have to be changed. But I'm not getting hits in here. We just want to go over the basic stuff, get all of our valves, make sure we don't get any hits and we're not leaking anywhere else. We'll get down inside here and check too. It is literally there, that bottom corner. Same spot on the other side. My bubble went away, but it was right there at the bottom. Same spot. Right there. So it ran for its few minutes. You can see the open's flashing now. And we're starting to send hot gas. This is going to my condenser. This is going to my reheat valve. So we're starting to get hot gas here at my reheat. We've got the temperature settings corrected. 82 degrees, 2 degrees over the pool temperature of 80. We're gonna leave it set a little higher on the humidity. Probably we'll leave it at 60 degrees. My humidity's maintaining just so this thing runs a minimal amount of time. We've got to replace that coil. You've got to have 10 ports to recover this thing, which I'm not prepared to do. So we're going to get enough charge in it to make it operational, get all the information we need, and go from there. We learned a little bit today, and we ought to be okay, at least in the short term, to try to get everything squared away here. So I'm not gonna keep y'all anymore. It's about time for me to try to get the hell out of here. I've got all the information I need, and we've got some major repairs to make. My condenser fans haven't even kicked on yet, but my hot gas is feeding. I hope y'all got something out of this. This was something I didn't really plan on recording, and you never really know what you're getting into until you come out here and find some of this stuff. But once we got headed in the right direction, no big deal. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Leave a trade better than you found it. See y'all next time.